Hey guys, it's Michelle here with My Cup of America, and I am so excited today to share with you this amazing talent that I can't say I discovered. Actually, my husband did. This is Jim Durow, and he is from Marine City, Michigan. And Jim and my husband actually went to school together just a few years ago. So when I started doing this, my husband's like, oh my gosh, I've got to introduce you to Jim and show you what he does. So Jim, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to chat with me today and share with our viewers and our listeners about what you do and tell us more about it. So Jim, how in the world did you how'd you get into this? I mean, was it like something that was passed down through your family, or how did you start?
I started, long ago when my dad was carving with me, and I had a real interest in carving, initially, and had seen birds in an art fair before, so I really was interested in birds, and I wanted to carve. So I bought a little X-Acto set, and he helped me carve birds. We would sit down, and he would carve a bird, and I would carve the same bird. We did like 25 different birds together.
Wow.
And I really enjoyed
So,
being with him in that time. And it was just a very special thing. And then he taught me, initially how to carve birds, just the basics.
So amazing. And that is such a talent. Absolutely. Such a talent. So where do you have, like, do you carve everything, or is it just birds that you specialize in, or tell us about that?
I just specialize in birds. That's always been my specialty. And doing the great variety of birds that there are in North American birds has really kept me, working diligently to know all the information and getting everything that I need to carve the birds. So it's been a very big challenge to have that knowledge to do all the birds. So I haven't really had enough time to really get into other areas. So specialize just in the birds.
Wow. So tell me what you got here sitting in front of you.
This is an American Kestrel, and it's life size. And this is actually the smallest falcon that we have here in North America. So this is actual size bird, and it's hand carved, and it's hand carved from Tupelo wood. And I hand painted it. All the texture on the bird that you see is hand burned in with a burning pen that I use, and I put many thousand little lines into the finish, and then those lines I paint over them. So the lines, after you get done painting, they show through the paint, gives you this beautiful, soft, realistic texture.
Wow. I mean, people listen to the podcast aren't going to be able to see this, so I hope that they'll go to our website and stuff and check out this video. But the detail on that is just absolutely amazing. I feel like if I could reach to the screen, I could touch it, and it would feel like bird feathers on there. The detail is just amazing. So you said that is life size. Now, do you do everything life size?
Not everything, but most carvings I like to do life size, because people, when they get a carving, I think it's nice to have it look like, the real thing. So you're trying to make a carving of a bird realistic. So doing it life size is a good thing. It just sometimes a smaller scale bird just doesn't quite look right for proportion. But when I do the life size, then, everything is right, just like the realistic bird. So it's usually something I do. Sometimes I don't have room for that, so I will downscale it and do a smaller version of the bird, and that can be done. But ideally, I like to hold life size when I work.
Wow. So where do you find your clients? I mean, are they, people like you and I, or are they corporate clients, or a little bit of both, or?
They're a little bit of both. I had done art fairs for over 30 years, in which I built a clientele of people. And that clientele had collected my work, and they, I worked with a group of people, quite a large group of people who collected the work, or I would meet new people at art fairs who purchased my work. But also, now that I'm working online, it's quite a bit different thing because I'm meeting people who are from all around the U.S., mainly the United States, that are seeing my work online, and then we're getting in contact, and I'm doing a lot of commission work for, people all over the country. And that's pretty much how I am obtaining my commissions, is through online presence of people seeing my work.
Yeah, and that's so perfect too, because the whole idea behind this My Cup of America was for people like yourself to showcase it, to get it out there, because that's, when you're working out of your garage, or a lot of people are working out of their kitchens or a spare bedroom, to get noticed and stuff. And so our whole goal is to be able to, give you the spotlight, by what we're doing too. So, doing the art fairs and stuff like that, that's, so important too, because you're building those relationships with people. Like you said, then you're getting repeat clients. So have you ever done anything that that's, what's the most, most important, most prestigious place that you can say they have one of my carvings?
Oh boy, that's hard to say. I've done a lot of different work for people that have had carvings. One job that I did was for an insurance company, and it was a big, large, open-wing bald eagle, not full size, but good size bald eagle. And I did that, and that went to the corporate person, or the head person of the insurance company. He was retiring, and he has that in his home now. And that was a pretty special carving to do for someone who was, pretty well known. In the company. So yeah.
So how long does it take? So for your bird right there, how long did that take you from start to finish?
It depends on the bird. This bird here, probably we work on this bird for around 75, maybe 100 hours of work. So, a little over 2 weeks probably to do this bird. Working at it full time would be a good estimation, 80 to 100 hours.
That's a lot, and it's so detailed. I mean, it is fine detailed work that you've got.
Yeah, the detail is very important. That's what I've always really been concentrating on for the customer, because I think the customer, they want to see something that is very detailed and very realistic. And so realism with the detail really brings it into a realistic, manner.
Yeah.
It's kind of an illusion of life, because you look at it and it looks, like a live bird, but it's not a live bird. And I put it on a picture and put it on the website, and some of those, they look at them and it's like, this looks like a live bird, but it's really not a live bird. So it's an illusion that I create. And the more detail that can be put into it, obviously, the more realistic it looks. So it lends itself to that real bird, only it's wood in the format.
So this is all literally self-taught.
Yes. My father worked with me. He was in woodworking for quite a while, so I worked with him. And then I did a lot of research with different books, that kind of thing, people who were doing the work. And at the time it was 1975, 1974. So there wasn't any online things, and there wasn't even very many books. So I did get as many books as I could, and I, went to shows of carvings, and I talked to people, and I tried to find out a lot about what carvings were done at the time, and the ones that I thought were really realistic, and what people were doing to make those birds realistic. So kind of getting an overall insight of what I had to do to perfect my craft.
Wow. I've seen people do carvings with a chainsaw. Do you do that too?
No, I do not. I get a lot of requests for that, though.
Yeah.
People ask me about it, and I say, no, I just do the fine coffee table work. That's birds you put on a coffee table.
Yeah.
They haven't really got into doing chainsaw work, because this work is different tools. It's totally different format, and it's the real high detail stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference when you go into this, because everything has to be, so correct anatomically and then artistically, and you're representing a bird that is, like a real bird, but you really can't do too much of that with a chainsaw. It's just not as conducive to that kind of detail.
Right. What's the biggest project you've ever done?
The largest piece I've ever done has been like a bald eagle life size. I did a couple bald eagles life size. I did a peregrine falcon life size.
Wow.
I did a great horned owl life size. So those have been my big pieces. And they can take a long time to do. A lot of this piece is small, so it doesn't have a lot of mass to it. But if you times this bird here by, say, 6 or 8, you can imagine, like for a full-size bald eagle, how many hours that would take.
Yeah.
And it really gets into some time. But it's cool. I love to do big pieces. They're just so awesome.
Yeah.
You get a real large, realistic piece, and it just has this really wow factor if it has this, really high detail. So if I can hold the super detail in a huge piece, then it's going to really be a pretty ultimate piece there.
Have you ever come across a big challenge where it was just so much more difficult than you anticipated it to be going into a project?
Yes, I mean, that happens sometimes, that get into something that I haven't done a lot of work with. So I've got to use do a lot of research kind of before I get started. Recently, I had one that came in, and a lady that I had done work for years had a request for a shoebill stork.
Oh my goodness.
And I kind of scratched my head when I got that request. I didn't even know what a shoebill stork was, having done birds for 40 years. So that was a little crazy. So I had to look it up, and I researched it, and I saw the shoebill stork, and it was like, wow, this is a very different looking bird, something I haven't done. And I kind of wanted to not do it because it was very intimidating, and it just took a lot of things that was out of my realm a little bit of birds. But on the other hand, I wanted to try it because I thought, well, I can do this and she'll be happy. She wants this piece for someone she's giving it to. So I took it on, and I did a lot of research, and I cut it out. I did the bird, got it all completed, and I sent it to her, and she was very happy with it.
That's cool.
And I was able to do my first shoebill stork carving. So I have that under my, realm of experience here.
That one in your portfolio, huh? Yeah.
I don't know if I want to jump into one real soon again, but it was an experience that was totally different. So it's not your typical bird that I've been doing over and over again.
Yeah.
This was like different shaping, different coloring. So everything on it, was quite different.
Now, do you use the same wood with all your birds, or is it different wood?
Primarily, I use Tupelo wood, which this bird here is carved from Tupelo wood, or we'll use basswood. Basswood is also a good carving wood. So either basswood or Tupelo wood.
Okay.
I started using basswood when I started way back when, 1974. And I used that for probably 20 years or so. And then I switched over to Tupelo wood. And Tupelo wood has some advantages to it, and basswood has some advantages. So now I kind of mix up, depending upon the bird I do, I'll use either of the two.
So do you have anybody that you're passing the skill on to, like your father passed on to you?
I have taught people, through lessons and that kind of thing, but not really taking, really getting into it and taking it on as a full-time position type thing where you're doing it as a career. No, haven't done that. Yeah,
it's definitely, so many things, skills like that are just, they're a lost art because people just don't, we're so into our electronics. Everybody's got their face in their phone or their computer or the video games and stuff like that. And, it just, people don't do that anymore. Fathers don't sit down.
It's kind of a shame because it's, it's something that is done with your hands.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people doing things with their hand that take a lot of knowledge and time to learn. In this day and age, a lot of people, because everything else is so, quick, they want something that's going to be very quick to learn. I want to do this, but can you do it? Can I learn this in 6 months or, 6 weeks or whatever? And if I was to tell them it, would take 6 years to even begin to do this well, then they would probably, pass on it.
Right.
Because it's a different day and age where everything is kind of quickly done. It isn't so much where you have to really put a lot of dedicated hard work into something, and especially when it's not something you can push a button and say, I want to do this, do this for me. It's all has to be learned, and then you have to do it physically yourself. So there isn't this machine that's going to say, yes, this is how it's going to be, and you do it this way. It all has to be in your mind, and you have to learn it.
Yeah.
So very difficult thing to learn, a lot of dedication to it and hard work. And that, for a lot of people, they just don't want to really commit to that, I guess.
Definitely a lot of patience, to go into just that fine detail. Have you ever had anything that, like, you were so close to being done and then it just, something happened and it turned out to be a total disaster and you had to start all over again?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about total disaster, but sometimes, I've done a lot of things that I'm working with them, and I will have everything just about done on the carving or something, and then for some odd reason, that I don't know, the bird slips out of my hand and falls on a cement floor, and the beak breaks off or the tail breaks off. And, that's just a real tragic moment. And sometimes there's been moments where things have went wrong like that, and you've got so much work and effort into it, and then something stupid happens. And then I just get, lose my patience. And
you have to walk away.
The bird might end up, flying across the shop and hitting the wall, and then you got more damage on top.
Yeah, I can imagine. You probably have to walk away from it for a little bit. So, do you have a bird that's particularly your favorite? Like, if this is my absolute favorite to carve.
Yes, I think I like birds of prey in general. Now, this is a bird of prey, the Kestrel. So I really got into this piece. A lot of color to it. Mm-hmm. And so artistically it works well. And then I like the birds of prey. I like bald eagles. I like peregrine falcons, owls. The reason I like the birds of prey is because they have a very intense look to them. And if you ever really looked at a live bird of prey up close, you would know what I mean, because they have this stare. They'll kind of stare back at you, and it's kind of a piercing stare. And so when you're doing a bird like that and you're carving it, to represent that look is extremely challenging, because there's this, a lot of I don't know if I call it emotion, but it's everything working in the three-dimensional part of it, and everything else, the carving, the texture, the paint, the way that the eyes are, the position of the eyes, everything together to give this look that you're looking for. So I really like that, because it's very challenging, and love to work with the birds of prey because of that.
Well, it's like this one here. I'm looking at this bird waiting for it to shake its head at me, or, ruffle its feathers or something. It's like, it's just unbelievable. The talent is just unbelievable. So, Jim, where can people find your work? Do you have a website?
I have a website. The website is wildbirdsandwood.com.
Okay.
And on that website, I have many examples of my work shown on there, different types of birds. And then I do a lot of commission work, so people can look at the birds and get an idea of what they look like, and get some ideas of what would look good in their home or office or what they're looking for. And then I recommend that they call me, or they can email me, and set up an appointment to, talk about doing their favorite bird or whatever.
Okay, cool. So we'll send them to your website, and they'll be able to get in touch with you through email or phone from your website, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Jim, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us. I know that it is really cold up there in Michigan, right now.
Yeah.
So do you have a view of the, are you right in, do you have a view of the St. Clair River?
We do, yeah. We're right across the street from the river. So yesterday the river was full of ice. It just totally got jammed up with ice.
Yeah, I saw there was some flooding
that
going
way
on.
it was, yesterday and today, and so there's like flood warnings out now, and just a whole lot of ice and very cold here.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure you're not missing this cold weather.
no, I'm not. But it was 34 this morning when I got up, and that is really cold here for Central Florida.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't. I told Dave, I said, you know what? We moved to Florida. I will shovel snow every year, so it's worked out in my favor. I haven't had to do any of that. In fact, he went out the other morning. There was some frost on the windshield. We don't even have a windshield scraper anymore. Being down here, so it's those little things that you always
It'd be
have.
a nice thing to be able to just like get rid of.
Yeah.
Toss it out and don't need it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not something we thought we'd need down here. So
the shovel could be in that same category.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now I just send them out on the back porch with the dogs. So
there you go.
Oh.
That worked.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. Your work is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to share this with everybody all across America. And when we get to Michigan, we're going to make sure that we stop in and say hi. So,
right. I look forward to that. And thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you.
You're welcome so much. And we'll chat soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.